Welcome to a slow, beginner-friendly lesson on the string type, made for absolute beginners. This lesson only defines strings. Using them in everyday ways is the next video. No string methods marathon today. Whenever you see words wrapped in quotes in Python, you are looking at a string. It might be one word, one letter, a full sentence, or a whole paragraph. The marks that hold it, the quotes, are what tell Python, treat what is between me as plain text, not as code. Inside the quotes almost anything is allowed: letters, spaces, punctuation, even digits when they are meant to be read, not added. A string is simply text, captured. Words held as text. Quotes are the container. Without them, Python would try to read your words as instructions. With them, Python knows you mean text. You can use single quotes, the ones above the comma on most keyboards, or double quotes, above the single one. To Python they are twins. The rule is only that the opening and closing marks must match. Open with a single, close with a single. Open with a double, close with a double. Quotes are the container. Text is everywhere you look. Headlines, names, labels, the words on this page. Behind almost every program is a constant rustle of strings being created, compared, and shown. When you can handle text in code, you can speak to people, not just to machines. Text is everywhere. Here are two strings that mean the same thing. The first uses single quotes, the second uses double quotes. Python treats them as identical. Which one you reach for is mostly habit. Many programmers prefer single quotes for short text and double quotes for sentences, but the language does not care. Read both out loud and notice they hold exactly the same word, hello. The quotes are the wrapper, the word inside is the value. Twins, to Python, a common first mistake is mixing the styles on one string. If you open with a double quote, you must close with a double quote. If you open with a single, you close with a single. Mismatched quotes confuse Python, because it cannot find where your text ends. The fix is always simple: make the pair match. Treat quotes like a pair of shoes, left and right must go together, or the whole thing falls over. The pair must match. Inside a string, spaces and punctuation are part of the text. Hello, world exclamation includes the comma and the exclamation mark as real characters. Leading and trailing spaces are kept too, so a string with spaces around the word literally holds those spaces. Nothing gets trimmed. What you type between the quotes is exactly what you get. This honesty is one of the gentle things about strings. Every mark counts. Think of a string as a line of words on paper. The quotes are the margins that mark where it begins and ends. Whatever sits between the margins is the text, letter for letter, space for space. Change nothing, trim nothing. The paper keeps exactly what you wrote. Words on paper. A string can hold nothing at all and still be a perfectly good string. Two quotes with nothing between them is called the empty string. It is not an error and it is not missing. It is simply text of length 0. You will use the empty string all the time, as a starting point you plan to fill, or as a way to say, there is no text here yet. 0 characters is a real value, just like the number 0. 0 characters, still valid. For text that spans many lines, Python offers triple quotes, 3 singles or 3 doubles in a row. Everything between them, including the line breaks, becomes part of one string. This is how you write a long message, a letter, or a block of instructions without stuffing everything onto one line. The line breaks you press inside triple quotes are preserved, exactly as you typed them. 3 quotes, many lines. Strings matter because the world is full of text. A person has a name. A product has a title. An email has a body. A website is, at heart, strings of characters sent back and forth. Without strings a program could only juggle numbers. With them, a program can speak, label, describe, and remember anything that is not a quantity. They are how code touches the human world. The world is text. Every string begins at a keyboard, typed by a human. Quotes first, then the words, then quotes again. It is the most human kind of data, because it carries language, the thing we use to think and to share. Code that works with strings works with people. Typed by a human, sometimes you need a quote mark inside your text, or a character that is hard to type. The backslash is the escape character. It tells Python, treat the next mark as plain text, not as special. Backslash followed by a quote puts a literal quote inside a string. Backslash n makes a new line, backslash t makes a tab. Escaping looks odd for a day, then it becomes a quiet, useful tool. Backslash unlocks special marks. There is a simpler trick that beginners love. If your text contains a single quote, like an apostrophe, wrap the whole thing in double quotes. The single quote inside is then just a character, not the end of the string. The reverse works too. Text containing double quotes can be wrapped in singles. Matching the outer style to avoid the inner one is cleaner than escaping, and most of the time it is all you need. Match outside to inside. Every piece of text in Python has the same type, str. It does not matter whether the string is long or short, empty or full, single or double quoted. Ask Python for its type and it answers str, short for string. This is reassuring. You do not learn one type for names and another for sentences. All text is one family, and the name of that family is str. All text is str. A string is built from characters. The word hello holds 5 characters. A space is a character. A comma is a character. A new line is a character. The empty string holds 0 of them. This idea, that text is just a row of small pieces, is what lets us later pick out one letter or measure a string with length. For now, simply notice that every mark inside the quotes counts. Built from characters, strings are how programs carry meaning. A number tells you how much, but a string tells you what and who. The name on an account, the title of a song, the words in a chat, all of them are strings, quietly holding the language that makes data human. Strings carry meaning. Names are the classic string. A first name, a last name, a city, a country, all are text and all belong in quotes. Here the variable name holds Ada Lovelace, and city holds London. Notice that the variable's own name, the word before the equals, has no quotes, but the value on the right does. The label is code, the value is text. That distinction will soon feel obvious. Names are strings. Messages are strings too. A welcome greeting, a status notice, an error explanation, each is just text in quotes assigned to a well-named variable. Read these aloud and they sound like sentences, which is the point. Strings let your program say things to the humans who run it, in plain language instead of bare numbers. Programs can speak. A quick but vital distinction. The number 42, written without quotes, is an int, and you can add and multiply it. The same characters inside quotes, 42, is a string, and Python treats it as text, not as a quantity you can add. They look alike to your eye but behave completely differently. Quotes are the switch that turns a number into text. Quote switch type. Much of what programs do with text comes down to one verb, search. Find this word inside the paragraph. Does the name start with the letter A? Replace old with new. All of it rests on strings. Before any of that, you only need to feel comfortable writing one down. It starts with search. Once you start looking, strings are in everything. File names, web addresses, error messages, usernames, colors, passwords. Almost anything that is not a number is probably a string. This is why we spend a whole lesson just getting comfortable writing them. Master the quotes and you can already represent a huge slice of the real world in code. Strings are everywhere. One tiny practice. Type 5 strings of your own, a name, a greeting, a sentence with an apostrophe, an empty string, and one that spans 2 lines. Read each out loud the way Python reads it, quote, text, quote. That small habit, saying the quotes, makes the structure of a string stick in your mind far faster than reading alone. Say the quotes. Let us gather it all. A string is text held inside quotes. Single and double quotes are interchangeable, as long as each pair matches. Triple quotes hold many lines. The empty string is text of length 0. Backslash escapes special marks. And every piece of text shares one type, str. If those ideas feel solid, you already understand what a string is. One idea, held firm. The takeaway, in one line. A string is text between matching quotes, and its type is str. That is the whole idea. How to join, measure, and reach inside strings comes next lesson. For now, simply recognize them and write them with confidence. Take a breath. You just met the type that carries all human language and code. Next, using strings. Thanks for watching. Next, using strings.